Welcome back to Coriander Society Adventures, a very well-produced, high-quality, top-of-the-line production where nothing ever goes wrong, and if it does go wrong, we cut it out in post, so you'll never know. I'm Tormented by Gnomes. I'll be your game master today. Joining us right now, we've got Beatdown Boulevard, Ninja Man Matt, and Pods of War. Our heroes are about to engage in a swashbuckling adventure across the stars in a flying boat. That's what's going on. Yeah. My recap at the top of the episode took like 5 minutes. This one takes 10 seconds. We find now our heroes gathered in the court of Fleuris as the ship that just arrived, the Pilgrim's Progress, docks. It unloads. There's a great hubbub through the city as its crew disembarks. And finally, you're all gathered together in the courtroom of King Indogalad. All sorts of people have turned out. There's a lot of folks. I know you guys are up here on the high platform, but down on the lower platforms, there's like observation posts where people can sit and gossip and watch what's going on in court. And it's packed. All sorts of elven nobles and commoners. You've got the fans with the various symbols on them fluttering all back and forth. And they're using them to communicate from one balcony to the other. One person has a robin, then they swap over to a toucan on the other side, which is a huge faux pas. There's all sorts of elvish nonsense going on around you. But what matters to you is the crew disembarks, they climb up, and you see before you a bunch of space pirates. Leading them at the very top with some swagger in her step is Captain Domnika Elena. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce you. She has a gunblade at her side and a pistol in her other hand. One of them is just leaning over the other. At her right hand is a man in steel chainmail with a red cloak and a turban. Very tall, very handsome, wielding a cutlass that he spins with casual flair. On her left is a dwarf who is in some ways the exact spiritual opposite of Boignus Kimsabin. He is completely clean shaven, no hair, no beard. He is shirtless. Every single inch of his body that you can see is completely covered in tattoos. He carries with him a huge book and a big gun. On the right-hand side, you've got a halfling whose goggles are sort of strapped up to her head. She's looking around the room very unimpressed. Behind her is a tall half-elf wearing green clothes with a long rifle on her back, sort of watching the whole area quietly. At the back, you've got a gnome covered in all sorts of bric-a-brac. He is carrying a flintlock flamethrower that is attached to his back, and he's just looking around with just completely dead stare at everything. On the left is a very large, very bald, very handsome half-orc with a double-sided axe, sort of looming over everyone like he means business. And there's some sort of little creature at the back with the head of a jackal that squeezes through them as they're being brought up. The elves of the court of Fleuris are about to give proper introductions, in Elvish at first and then in Common. And in the middle of all that, this jackal-headed creature wiggles through, runs right past you over to Hara.
John remarks, Wife's still alive. I honestly didn't expect that.
Is that your pet?
Great and gracious one, you have returned. We feared you would never return.
Oh, this is what she meant.
What she meant when what?
I'll explain later.
Hara looks surprised, a little bit annoyed, but is gracious and leans down and starts talking to sort of crouches down to be at eye level with this creature who probably only comes up to your waist and is carrying, tied to his back, two very nasty looking kukris. Distinguished guests and honorable delegates of the court of Fleuris, we give you the champions of King Indogalad himself, the Pilgrims. Captain Domnika walks forward, addressing John first with a sort of smirk, and demands to be introduced to the rest of your friends.
Having
Because it
been
looks
just
like you've been
looking-
put together a whole crew of your own. What are we, chopped liver?
during the that little waif business, and as you were introducing everyone, John was kind of looking between each of the pilgrims in turn and just smiling brightly. And as Domnika approaches him, John holds out a hand, and then if it looks like she's going to go for it, he's going to pull her into a big hug.
All right. She goes in for it. Act
Yeah,
surprised
so-
at first, rolls her eyes, squeeze.
Well, you know, when I fell down with this one into the pits of apparent death, turns out we survived. And considering I didn't have your fair ship to call upon, yeah, I had to make do.
Mm.
And John goes ahead. This here's Charlie, and John just kind of nudges the plain lost gangster.
Yeah, Asena and Gastone, you've both noticed that Charlie is just staring this entire time. He has never been off world. He's seen some stuff. He used to work with Ralzamon, but his brain is just on meltdown right now.
But as I said, this is Charlie. He's kind of a protege of mine, but you know, we don't talk about him much. He gets the pins. This big lug behind me, this has been Grimm. He's an Immoth, but don't worry, he's a good guy on our side.
I don't even know what that is, John.
Big giant ice demon, but he likes to eat words, so you know, it's fine.
Elemental demon is a misnomer.
I know, but if I call you an elemental, people will get the wrong idea, so it's just kind of easier to explain it that way.
Acceptable.
Hara, you recall, looks a bit different, but she's still mostly the same.
Remember, Hara's not dressed like the head of the Donahue Institute right now. She's dressed like an archmage.
Which is still very different than the
That's
last
fair.
time I saw her.
Actually, yes, that's fair.
And she has gone from being what was basically like a very low-level sorceress acolyte to what looks like an archmage now. So she absolutely looks way different than the last time they saw her.
Mhm.
And Boignus, you recall. But these two, actually, I've met recently. This is Gastone, one of the few people that, well, is both my intellectual equal and investigative equal. He's got a knack for being able to hunt down and find just the very smallest details, which help him not just with his cases, but with technological marvels I could only dream of. And this is Asena. She punches harder than you do. That's kind of her thing, but she also has some connection to dragons and the astral plane. We're still trying to figure that out, but they're both good people and a lot of fun. And when we get on the ship, you should definitely talk.
Captain Domnika eyes Asena for a moment and then offers her hand.
Asena is going to take her hand, but very confusingly, like she doesn't really know how to do this.
All right, Domnika just sort of like holds your hand as it does nothing, like a dead fish for a moment, and then gives it a couple of shakes. Waggle, waggle, waggle.
Oh, yes. I wasn't sure what to do there. Hello. I'm much better at punching than shaking hands.
That's good. We do a lot more of that in my line of work.
Oh, well, then maybe I'll be useful.
You've kept this guy alive this long. You must be useful. All
Who,
right.
John?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's easy.
Domnika and John exchange a look for a moment, and then the moment passes. She offers her hand over to Gastone.
I'll take it like a normal person. I feel like that's worth mentioning. And just pointedly say, hey.
How you doing?
He does not say how you doing.
We just delivered the flat, hey, it's fine.
Hey.
Yep.
All right. She rapid fire introduces you to the crew, who the elven folks, actually, Hara reminded you there will be no quiz.
Lovely.
Taking notes anyway.
This is Lonnie Lay Simple. She points over to the halfling over at the edge, our intrepid spelljammer and pilot. Lonnie says, yeah, we're probably all going to die this time. So we
Oh,
say,
John, you didn't say she's positive.
Oh, Lonnie's the best. Little ray of sunshine with hey, remember that sunburst that almost killed us? That's basically Lonnie, but like in halfling form.
Hey, you want to come back to Northport? We have some business to take care of. That orb never finished.
Lonnie looks at you. What's a Northport?
Right. John, where's Northport?
Far away.
It's a town that we're from, but it is complicated to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you get drunk there?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Sounds like a plan. Might as well die there instead of here. Doesn't matter.
Wait, what?
And then before she can respond to you, Captain Domnika introduces her ship's priest, sometimes cook, lore keeper. This is Boguk Cairnmelter, the completely clean-shaven dwarf. Gives John a hearty one of those arm shakes.
Yes.
It's good to see you, Bundusathor. It's been a long time.
You yourself, how are you faring nowadays?
Better now. Better. Let me meet your friends. He is wearing manacles that are chained together, but with like the chain wraps around his lower body. He's got plenty of it. He could probably beat you to death with it if he had to.
Ah.
Well met. Where do you find your faith, travelers?
Myself?
He turns to Asena.
We're still working on that one.
These aren't God-fearing people, sir.
Well, given the nature of our current task, maybe the gods should fear them.
I like the sound of that.
You know, in the weirdest of ways, you're so entirely right, Boguk. We'll get to that later.
Domnika introduces the charming, very tall individual standing to her right. This is Nizar. And as she says that, roll insight checks, please, all three of you, with disadvantage if chat has rained on your parade. Matt.
Yeah, no, that's me.
All right.
13.
Okay. Gastone is oblivious, which is hilarious. John sees something in the way that Domnika moves and looks at Nizar when she introduces him, turns towards him a little bit, leans into him a little bit. Asena, it is clearly obvious that Domnika and this guy are an item.
Oh.
Like it could not, there's obvious chemistry. And if anyone in the room doesn't notice it, they're oblivious and they have no proficiency in the ways of love. He gives you a way over the top flourishing salute. John, I thought you were dead on that rock.
Well, didn't die then, but I almost died later, if it's any consolation.
As any life well lived should be. What's the most dangerous thing you've ever done? He points right at Asena.
Dangerous. There was this one time where I went against this big, huge monster named Centipulcher, but then I hid in a box.
You're so proud of that. I love it. You, fancy dressed man. He points at Gastone.
Walked into a secret mountain on a planet I've never been to, fighting things I probably wasn't able to fight. I actually did almost die. That was scary.
Good. All right. No. Perhaps they're fit to swab the deck. Domnika elbows him.
Nizar, I'm surprised that you left your world and joined up with the Pilgrims. That's an amazing. I mean, I'm glad to see you. What a fantastic turn of events.
Have you seen the rest of the world, John? Domnica whispers something in his ear. Right, right. Yes, interdimensional, blah, blah, blah. Yes. No, there's so much more than Ashen and its buried treasures to plunder.
And it looks as though you've done well for yourself.
Only the finest of boot. Ow! We've got Zomkug. He's our muscle. The half orc in the back gives a nod and a grunt, but doesn't move forward.
John, while it's being introduced, while Zomkug is being introduced, John's going to cast Mage Hand, and he's just gonna grab hold of Zomkug's backside, not his butt, but like his lower back, and like thrust him forward a bit.
All right. You know, Mage Hand exerts 10 pounds of force, right?
This is more of a request than like a demand.
Your request has been denied silently. But
John silently gives him a little. He actually does go out of the butt squeeze, good little squeeze, then lets the Mage Hand go.
he rocks forward slightly on his heels and his eyebrows go up. He
John
looks,
makes eyes at him and winks.
he just gives you the sup.
Yeah, exactly.
Domnica whispers to Asena, I got 5 gold on him once we get on the ship that he can out arm wrestle you. What do you say?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get your takers, I'll get my takers. We'll put a little wager together. We'll see where this goes.
Sounds good. I like his teeth.
John leans over to Charlie. Hey, 5. We're gonna start putting money in Asena here in a moment.
Sorry, what did you say, Matt?
We're gonna start putting money in Asena, passing around.
Charlie is just staring. At
John nudges him. Pass it around.
Money?
He may take Bosky credits.
John can loan you some gold.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I should probably pass around some gold. I'll take care of that later.
Hey, do I get a cut if I win?
No.
I mean, if you bet
I
on
have
you,
to.
then yeah.
I'm not gonna fight for free.
I mean, you already were interested. Also, arm wrestling's not fighting, really. It's simply a test of might.
You guys can all get 4 and I'll get 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
good.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm putting a lot more than 5 on you, and if you do this, I'm gonna be a little bit upset.
Yeah, anyways,
Boignus
good luck,
mutters, you
Asena.
could have just not told her that, but all's well. Now you have. What were you saying,
Should've done a
Gastone?
percentage.
No, I just said, yeah, well, no, that's established. Good luck, Asena.
Okay.
We've got 10 Copal Bizbus. He's our scrapper. The gnome in the back just goes, bored, disinterested. And then our wayfinder, Molly Lyklin.
John waves at Tenkoble.
He raises an eyebrow silently. You aren't dead.
And John gives him kind of a, come on, man.
He gives you a... And our wayfinder, Molly Lyklin, the half-elf looks up, gives you a cheerful wave, and you can tell that Indogalad and Medwithin are shooing out all the courtiers who no longer belong in this conversation so that they can discuss business.
John smiles warmly at Molly and returns the wave.
Mm-hmm. All right. All the pilgrims having been introduced, and again, there will be no quiz. Indogalad calls everyone to order. Only the characters that you see on the map are present. We will now shoot out the bards, the minstrels, the courtiers, so on and so forth. The bodyguards will remain in attendance as they begin their next discussion. Noble friends, guests of the delighted sun-kissed waters of Quelia and from places even further afar, it is no light matter which gathers us today. To break a curse that has lasted thousands of years will require materials that cannot even be comprehended by mortal minds, and deeds worthy of song. The Pilgrims have come forth to usher you to your destination, as I would trust no one else with such an important task. Let us set forth what must be done. In the City of Spires, a hidden, sand-buried ruin, the pinnacle of the ancients' power upon the world of Ashen, there dwells at its very bottom a creature brought forth by the unholy arts of the Maru, who dwelled in that ancient place, devolving year after year, trapped in the darkness, their creators long since gone, turning to crude traditions, but further advancing their unholy sciences. Somehow, they managed to harvest the very spark of divinity, what separates gods from mortals. And using their engineering, they made a creature of flesh and divine blood. That is the Maru spawn abomination, and it dwells still in the haunted depths of that place. John, what do you know of what befell the abomination?
John looks up at Nzogalad, taking his eyes off of the Maru spawn scout Waith during that description. And they'll step forward. Well, to be completely honest, I can't quite say. John turns to Hara. At the end of our encounter with the admin of the ruins, Hara and I sent him down into the darkness, and as everything started crumbling around us, we caught sight of it briefly, and John looks to Hara, kind of at a loss for words.
First, allow me to clarify, and she turns directly to Asena and Gastone. The City of Spires was the capital city of humans from Lacunis. 10,000 years ago, humans conducting experiments on Lacunis opened a portal through the use of technology, not through magic, that led them to the world that you now call Ashen. Before that, there were no humans in PYRESPACE whatsoever. Elves, dragons, and others dwelt here, but no humans. They emerged into this world, discovered it to be filled with magic, and began the process of experimenting and consolidating their power on that world. These are the ancients, who the people of this sphere speak of with such reverence, who left their works. Every single human of this world, she looks over at Domnika. I think Domnika's the only human on the team, actually. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Molly's half.
And like she gives a glance to Molly, even though that might be a little polite. Every single human in this world is descended from the advanced scientific civilization on Lacunis. The dragons who invaded that world, who now rule over Lacunis, originated on Ashen in this world. The City of Spires was the connecting gate, the gate that we emerged from when we traveled from Northport to Lacunis. Originally, that gate led to the heart of the City of Spires. John and I defeated the administrator of that city and sent it plunging below, then leapt into the portal to save our lives because the entire area was collapsing. That's how we came to Lacunis in the first place. We did not see the abomination, we only heard it. The area was collapsing at the time. It's possible it could have been buried, but if it is descended from a god, the odds that killed it are minuscule.
Yeah, that.
How long ago was that?
Over a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
What-
But I mean, even if it has been trapped, and hopefully the rubble of that raised civilization did hold it, If it is truly a godling, it likely doesn't require food, air, water, nourishment of any kind. It could just sustain itself on its hate,
John,
anger.
roll an Arcana check, please, with disadvantage.
Yeah, I'll be doing that all night.
It's only a couple, right? Aren't you like
Well,
halfway through?
it was 6. I'm down to 4.
A 16. All right.
Oh,
So I'm gonna is it all right if I just use you as a lore spout now, Matt?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. An abomination. First off, I am going to see if I can share this image with you, though you won't be able to see its stats. This is what the thing looks like. The Maru are a race of jackal-headed servitors who were genetically engineered by the humans of Lacunas. They survived after the humans of Lacunas were long gone. The abomination is the most powerful amongst them. Abominations are creatures that are the unwanted or misformed offspring of gods. We know very, very little about them because they are divinely immune to all divination magic. They cannot be detected, they cannot be scryed on with orbs, and no magic can predict their future whatsoever. They have divine exemption from that. So anything that we know about them is only through study and forbidden lore, which is not a whole lot. You also know they are functionally immortal. Unless they are killed, they never die. They don't need food, water, air. They never age. And they are unbelievably powerful. They are really, really hard to kill.
Also, if I could add, just because this picture, that scale doesn't do it justice, it's also the size of a building. This is not like person-sized.
Yeah.
This is a hulking monster of a creature.
It still looks kind of cute.
So, it's lurking underneath the city. In order to capture it, you're going to need to beat the crap out of it. I mean, how do you subdue a thing like that? Indogalad rises from his throne and produces from his robes an iron flask covered with runes and stoppered with a lead bottle. This is a magical weapon that can contain Ifrit and genies. The problem is getting the thing inside. The way that it works is if you open the flask, target a creature within 60 feet of you, and say the command word, that creature, if it doesn't belong in this world, has to roll a save, or it's immediately just sucked into the bottle like a genie bottle. Instant win. The problem is that this creature is going to have high saving throws, and it is absolutely going to have legendary resistance. So you're going to need to weaken it before you throw the Pokeball.
That's exactly the metaphor that John uses.
Furthermore, Indogalad has access to information, tomes, lost knowledge that reveals the following. Fire, poison, and the grim hand of death cannot harm the Maru spawn. No magic can alter its form. And though woe to those who hear its howl, for their flesh shall be fossilized.
I don't like that part.
Yeah.
Everything else we could kind of deal with. I could punch it a lot, but I don't know about that part.
Yeah.
Mate, just to clarify, does John get the sense that he should even bother asking if he could try to have access to a library or books to research this, or is this about as much as he would get by looking into this Maru spawn?
this is probably what you'd get, although you do have a unique set of knowledge that is particularly useful. But you recall, Adthea has mentioned that Indogolad has access to like vaults of lore that are sacrosanct to anybody else. You could ask for a look at them. It would be a persuasion check. You would make it with disadvantage. If you fail, you probably you have a bond with Indogolad that excels over a lot of things, but you would probably get an answer of time is running out. If I find anything else, I will let you know via sending.
He'll at least make the request that, you know, anything at all. This is amazing information, but obviously we're going to be going after a lesser god, minor deity, effectively. So we'll need all the help we can get, and any little bit of information is going to be useful. Just a quick clarification, this iron flask, is this a one-use thing? Once you've said the command word, that's it? Or if we fail, can we try again?
No. It can only hold one creature at a time. But you can try.
Limitation.
You can keep trying. It just takes an action every single time that you try.
Very good. Okay.
It's a DC 17 wisdom save.
Oh, jeez.
So if you can beat the hell out of it, if you get it bloodied, you can. It's going to have disadvantage on the save. And if you bring it down to 0 hit points, it will automatically fail the save.
Okay.
There's also other magic and stuff that you can try to use to pull down its saves. Like there's a variety of things that you can do, right? To make it weaker.
Oh, trust me, I understand.
Now, Asena and Gastone, do you have any questions right now?
For
No.
you?
For me or for the court? In or out of character?
No.
Okay.
No.
Here's the next question that is pertinent. Who is joining your crew? Who is going on this adventure? The Pilgrim's Progress is a large ship. It can have a large crew. There's more crew members who work on it. There's like spacers who join you, who work for the Pilgrims, who will man the sails and all that stuff. But who is going to form your party for this?
You're talking our our party going into the.
You're
we're not choosing who's going to be on their ship.
You're choosing who's
general,
going to be on the ship.
Okay, so I mean,
All the Pilgrims are going.
There's no limit based off who's here, right? Like
No.
technically, if we wanted to, we could bring it. Okay, so we're just deciding who we want to leave behind.
Yeah.
Okay, quickly before we get to that, John is going to inquire if Indogolad or anyone in his court, or if he's heard of any, let's say, mage across PYRESPACE that has some form of charm or potion that either gives us immunity or resistance to petrification. That seems like if this thing's mere voice is able to turn us to stone, we'll need some way that isn't just praying to get past that.
Well, first off, it's a Constitution saving throw. I'll tell you that much,
Okay.
if that's helpful. And second, okay, it's not one of those things where if you save once, you're immune to it after that. So,
Okay.
I'm
That's
trying
unfortunate.
I'm trying to think if there's an item. Let's say this: the court will furnish you with 3 magic items,
Ooh.
which, if not consumed, need to be brought back when they're
Return
done.
back.
Yeah. I don't know what those are yet, and I'll need to get up to go get my book in order to decide
Okay.
them. But we have some time before we get to this encounter with the Maraspawn Abomination.
Yeah.
Because the quest is go capture it, bring it back, so we can do the ritual. Gastone, the City of Spires was built by a civilization capable of extra-dimensional travel and severely advanced genetic engineering.
Yeah, so the thing about that is these are the people who came from Lacunas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't their technology be like similar?
Yes, but one, they were studying magic
True.
and technology, the intersection of which is something you are keenly interested in. Two, after this colony base was established, they had this portal that went back and forth between the two worlds until Lacunas messed up their experiment that froze them in time and summoned the chronophage, right? That froze them in time for thousands of years. When that happened, this world was cut off because anyone who went in the portal got frozen in time and nobody could come out of the portal. So they became isolated from everyone else, which means that while Lacunas was frozen in time for like 10,000 years, this place kept doing stuff.
Oh.
Granted, they were doing stuff without access to their home country, like their home base of operations, but they were desperate. They made genetically engineered weapons. They were messing with magic. Their technology is what created a god clone. So it's going to be like a weird, different branch of advanced technology. Now, granted, it's also been moldering for 10,000 years, but still, there's going to be some toys for you down there.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. Just pointing that out for the sake of pointing that out.
Yeah, actually, mate, point of order, just because it's been a while since I was partial to this lore. How many thousands of years ago did the majority of the humans that were stranded here from Lacunas end up taking their arcs or their sky barges and then heading off to the various worlds?
So it was 10,000 years ago that the time freeze occurred, and it wasn't more than 600 years later that they evacuated the planet.
Okay, so they only had about 600 years of doing stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the difference between the year 2000 and the year 1400,
absolutely.
It's not like a lot changed in that time.
No, it's just a stark difference, 600 versus 10,000 years.
Yes,
of doing
absolutely.
Stuff, that's all. Just wanted to put
They weren't sitting there doing weapons dev, because what happened was they escaped the planet. John and Har are like the only people in the sphere who know this. They escaped Ashen in like arc ships to evacuate the planet. One crash landed on the water world of Quelia, which is what everyone thinks is the human home world. One crash landed on the jungle world of Verdura, which has its own problems. And the other one went off into space and was never discovered again.
Didn't one also just like get vaporized in the pyre or something like that?
No, not as far as you know.
Okay.
The pyre does vaporize things. So each of you will get one like serious magic item that will be on loan. Let me go grab my books, and while I do that, think about what it is that you want. And you don't need to know what you want. You just need to know like what need you're trying to fulfill.
We get a magic item. We get a magic item.
Yeah, that's fun.
How about?
We each get one, no?
Never mind.
Wait, what?
I thought they said they'll give us 3.
Yeah,
one
we
for
each
each of
get
us.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You can also have a small cache of supplies and disposable magic items. How about this? You each get 3 consumables like potions, scrolls, etc., and you each get 1 serious magic item, because this is a magic-rich planet, and Indogalot is opening the war chest for you.
Yeah, that sounds lovely.
While we're at it, if I could have each of you roll 1d20, a flat 1d20 unaffected by nonsense.
I wonder what this is all about.
This roll isn't important at all.
Gastone got a 19, John got an 11, and Pod's got a 2.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
I got a 2.
Gastone, roll 1d6, please.
Oh, right.
This is for that act of
He's
God.
a
Okay. The world of Perianth, the world of PYRESPACE rather, is going to be affected by the rise of a new military leader.
Oh, goody.
I have the perfect idea.
I was going to say, I know exactly what you're going to do with this. I'm pretty sure.
I have an excellent idea for how this is going to work. All right. Well, that's going to come into effect very, very soon. And it will change your fate. Okay. I've got my
You can
books.
change your fate.
What if you could change your fate? Who wants to express their need for magic items first? Who knows what sort of thing they want?
I mean, like John said, for consumables, anything, if it's a
Mhm.
salve or a cure-all, something that is able to either protect against or resist against petrification,
Mhm.
either consumably or otherwise, that would be lovely.
Okay.
Something that boosts, like you said, con saves. Anything along the lines of resistance, immunity, or quick repair from petrification, or at least petrification-like things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Aside from that, Gastone or Asena, what sort of equipment are you looking for?
Earplugs.
Wow.
Does it work if you... Let me see if that would work.
Yeah, actually, that's another way of looking at it. If there's a way that we can just make the area...
Yeah, I was thinking like Gastone could maybe make us something.
Okay, so the way it works is the abomination looses a howl, and if you are within 30 feet, you have to roll a saving throw. So it's not based
that
on
won't
you
work.
hearing the sound.
It's just
Okay.
being near it.
That being said, the effect is based on sound somehow, or at least it's a wave, it's a vibration of some kind, because it releases a howl to unleash it. So, I mean, you might be onto something.
Maybe it would make it less bad.
I don't think earplugs would help, but the idea might have merit. There might be a line of thinking there that can help.
Okay.
And what I might do is I might just take some time off stream to go through all my books, because I've got a bunch of different options to gear you guys up with some cool stuff.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
All right, so earplugs or some sort of protection. Gastone, aside from please don't get petrified and die, were there any other sort of like ideas that you had for what sort of end goals you'd want for your magic loadout?
I wonder if there's a thing where, how do I explain it? Like a Tony Stark type power source. Little, but it's like a sun.
The power
Doesn't
of the
have to literally
sun
be
in
a
the
sun,
palm of your
just to give you an
hand.
idea. Yeah.
What kind of power do you need? You don't need to be super specific, but like, do you need to be able to convert it into electricity, into plasma, into heat? What sort of base? Electricity?
Usually,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so a powerful source of electricity. All right. I'm gonna call protection from petrification and earplugs the same thing. So between John and Asena, aside from a way to not die and a power source for Gastone, what other help would be good for this trip in terms of a magic item you could bring with you?
What kind of what? Oh, you're talking man. Sorry.
Just to double down on our efforts, John, first of all, wants to ask Ndoglot if he has one of these. Secondly, if he believes that it would be able to contain such a creature. John's wondering if Ndoglot, aside from the bottle that he's providing us, which sounds like the best avenue, a mirror of life trapping may also do the trick.
Wow.
And if you could just loan us, we basically would have 2 Pokeballs, and we have 2 different avenues, 2 different saving throws.
What does that do?
The mirror of life trapping.
John describes the mirror. It is a large, generally, depending on the mirror you have, it is a large mirror, usually about the size of a small person. And any creature other than you, whoever is, I believe it's an attunement thing, but I'm not sure. But while holding it, any creature other than you that sees its reflection in the mirror must succeed on a charisma saving throw, or they are trapped inside of the mirror along with anything they are wearing and carrying. There's usually about a dozen different extra dimensional cells within, and you can call upon that creature's name to reveal them to you within that cell. You can speak to them, ask them questions, generally in fairy tales. And he kind of turns to Gastone and Asena. the entities that speak to the wicked witches and the evil kings inside these mirrors usually are demons, extra-dimensional beings that have been drawn within this mirror, and they are to serve a certain amount of time, sentence, what have you, as an advisor inside this mirror before they can be released. They don't usually tell you that as part of the fairy tale, but generally, as far as I could tell from what my lodge said, that's usually how it went down. Very much genie in a bottle kind of thing.
Okay. So I thought a mirror of life trapping was a legendary item. It's a very rare item.
Correct.
So yes, he has one.
Then that's John's
But
feeling. Yes.
it only works when it's hanging on a vertical surface. You can't hold it up in front of you. It has to be hanging on something, on a wall or a vertical surface of some kind.
Okay, we have a lot of strong people. We could literally just bring a section of wall and hang it on there to get across that weird.
I could
Gimme.
become a wall.
Yeah, Asena's great at assuming the form of inanimate objects. That's totally perfect.
Form of rock. Okay. A mirror of life trapping, a power source, and something to stop you from, or at least give you a leg up on dying. And then 3 consumable magic items each. John, you can use that to re-up on some of your spell bullets if you want.
Oh, mate.
Yeah?
So John's gonna have a secondary request. There we've got at least 2 dwarves here, and we've got Gastone and we've got John himself, all of which could put their brains together. Before they leave, John wants to either get the materials for or construct a tower shield that we can mount this mirror on.
Yeah, you can have a tower shield. That's fine.
Perfect. That's our vertical surface. We're
Great.
gonna make sure
Easy.
that we can attach this mirror of life trapping to a tower shield.
What's a tower shield?
It's almost like what it sounds like. It's a shield that's extremely large. It's usually used by certain militias to protect their flank or their side. They're usually used in large military gatherings as part of some kind of phalanx. Usually, there's been in the past cases that I've heard, some intrepid adventurers that would try and strap one of those to themselves, but it's extremely difficult, as you can imagine, running through a dungeon carrying what is effectively a large section of wall.
A tower shield is usually like as tall as a person. A crossbow, someone in an army who uses a crossbow can dig the shield into the ground and prop it up, and it's cover now. Like you can carry it around and fight with it. But if you've ever seen people playing Counter-Strike and they've got the riot shield that's like as big as they are, that's a tower shield.
He okay, Matt, you made it sound like it was a tower. You said it was like what it sounded like. It sounded like a castle tower.
We could loan you that too, but we really can't afford to have that many items out of the lot at once.
I'm just trying to figure out how like the 4 of us were gonna carry a castle.
Well, you need Darren's instant fortress.
I don't know what that is either.
It's a little box that you throw and you say a magic word and it turns into a tower.
Oh,
Yep.
that's better.
All right. So your party is assembled. You're going to bring all these people. Now, not necessarily all these people are going to join the away team, but all the folks who are standing down here are going to be joining your crew on this adventure. However, you've also made a promise to Hara. So there's a question. You have 2 objectives when you get to Ashen. Deal with the Nagas and fulfill her request, and capture a cloned god at the bottom of a city infested with these genetically engineered fanatics. On the one hand, one of those could be more difficult than the other. On the other hand, both are likely to expend some of your resources. Now, you'll have time during the trip to think this through and decide what you actually want to do about all this. But it is something that you're going to need to consider. Do you have any thoughts on this right now?
Me, yeah.
What does Asena think?
We have to do the Nagas first because we've already not wasted, but it's already been a long time since we promised her that we would. Also, we might die in the other one, so we should probably get that done first.
Gastone, what do you think?
I think we should do Hara's thing first, just because, especially in light of recent revelations.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather we face that as soon as possible.
All right. Well, the decision will actually be made once we get there. Does John weigh in either way?
John looks to Hara as this is being said. I think Hara already knows which one we're going to do first. So I'll leave it up to her.
She doesn't respond.
Anyway, John turns to the pilgrims. I have gifts, by the way. So why don't we wrap up what we're doing here and let's get ourselves settled. Like you said, we've and John kind of looks over at Asena. We've wasted a lot of time over the course of our adventures trying to get here, and we should probably make haste.
All right.
John turns to the rest of the court, bows to Indogolod, and as part of the bow, he is going to cast message to Indogolod. I'm a little concerned that a mutual friend of ours is on house arrest for a crime he very likely didn't commit. We don't have the time now, but I would like to discuss this in depth when I return, at your behest, of course.
Indogolod does not respond via the spell, but looks you directly in the eye and just the slightest inclination of his head in agreement.
And from there, John is going to put a hand and kind of shake Lonnie's hair, ruffle it up a bit, and start leaving the court.
All right. You're loaded up with equipment. Indogolod wishes you well. Medwithin sort of gives a silent blessing, looking out over the lot of you, her eyes lingering for a moment on the gemstone that she bestowed on Gastone.
Oh, is she not coming?
Did you want Medwithin to come?
Well, I mean, we kind of started this together. I figured we'd end it together. Yeah.
Yeah. See, remember when I said all the people in this cluster were definitely going and Medwithin's up here? All right.
So as John's leaving and Medwithin's not following in tow, he kind of looks up and, well, aren't you coming?
Roll a persuasion check, please, John, with disadvantage.
Disadvantage, yep.
And could I get a perception check from Asena? And one from Gastone as well.
Perception?
Perception, please.
Done.
17.
All right. When John asks that, Medwithin looks almost involuntarily over at Hara, who looks straight back at her. The whole courtroom, not on purpose, they're not all paying attention to this. It's just one of those things where, you know, when you're at a party and you're saying something just really inane and it happens to be said, or like vulgar, and it happens to be said right at a lull in the conversation so everybody hears it. This Medwithin and Hara locking eyes is the visual equivalent of that. John has asked her to come with Gastone and Asena. You see Hara and Medwithin staring at each other. What do the two of you do?
Can I go step and just like be at Hara's side?
Sure. Asena walks up next to Hara, standing deliberately by her side. Gastone, what do you do?
I'm gonna move over to Medwithin and just whisper like, "Hey, you good? Is this gonna be a thing?"
Roll persuasion for me, please, Gastone.
Persuasion. Ah!
I was gonna ask. This is kind of a good time to ask. Is he able to approach the?
Yeah, she's way
The
down
court?
there.
Yeah, he's allowed to approach. He can get at least
Okay.
close enough because, like, let's say that they're all standing to, wish you well. They're not just sitting
Uh-huh.
on their thrones. They come down close enough for you to walk up and.
Okay, I'm just clarifying because it just looks like they're all sitting up there watching us.
No,
so-
I did have them up there. As you wander over there and mutter, "Is this going to be a thing? Are you good?" Medwithin sees Asena standing at Hara's side, and with Asena's presence, Hara seems to be standing even taller. Her shadow extending out past her. The robes, elegant robes that she wears, flowing like wings in a gentle breeze. As if
Just for real quick, mate, just for the sake of how cool this looks, I like the idea that we have Hara with Asena standing with her, Medwithin with Gastone standing next to her, and then John's kind of like in the middle, looking between like
Mhm.
both groups, kind of pulled between both sides.
Yeah. All right. Medwithin opens her mouth to speak, and Hara's eyes flash with distant lightning. And Medwithin closes her mouth and just shakes her head at Gastone.
Is she still standing there?
She's still standing there. She's not moving.
Oh, I guess her shaking her. She's responding to my question, or
Mhm. Or failing to respond, almost unable to respond. Verklempt.
I see. Okay. Are we going to leave anytime soon? Maybe this would be a great time to just.
So what was happening was everyone was leaving. Everyone was heading to the
Oh,
ship.
okay,
Like there was this big
perfect.
movement of excitement. Let's go! And Medwithin wasn't going, and John was like, "Are you going?" And then Hara and Medwithin stared at each other, and apparently the answer to that question is no. Medwithin is not going.
I mean, I never figured she would from the begin with, so. Maybe, you know what? Despite my better judgment, I'm gonna grab Ahara's arm and try to very gently nudge her away. Be like,
Mhm.
"Hey, you have a ship to catch. It's over there, that way."
Okay. John, with a 27 on your insight. Medwithin is afraid and ashamed. Hara is defiant and proud. She feels that with Asena's support, she's just put Medwithin in her place.
John's gonna step up to Hara.
Mhm.
If this is a problem, then it's your rodeo. We're gonna do what you say, Hara.
It's true.
Thank you.
John nods, looks back at Medwithin.
Regret, a little bit of shame, but unwillingness to face it. Writ across her.
John just mouths at her. It's okay. And says it will be okay. And John just walks towards the port.
Right. The lot of you descend down these stairs to leave the court and back up the branches of the truly gargantuan trees that make up this village, rising up towards the canopy, hundreds of feet above the forest surface far down below. Or in many places that are not the open, grassy, sunlit meadows upon which the king feasts with his honored guests, the sun barely or never touches. As you emerge above the treetops and the branches, and you can see the beautiful, cool, almost eternally autumnal sky of Perianth, Gastone, for the first time, you see spelljammers, flying ships coming and going. They have no visible propulsion, even though they have sails. They have no visible power source. They're not venting anything. You don't see any engines. They're just freaking flying. In complete defiance of gravity and the laws of physics and everything that makes sense. It's it's probably magic. At this point, guess I was like, wow, magic.
I mean, it's still maybe something you could figure out.
But this whole treetops, these branches rise up and they form docking ports for the spelljammers.
Wow.
And so the pilgrims lead you excitedly towards their ship, the Pilgrim's Progress, the vessel for which they have been named. They are eminently proud of their vessel, their home, the vehicle that's taken them on all of their adventures, and they welcome you aboard. It is, for all intents and purposes, an old-fashioned sailing ship, except one that has wings that pop out of the side, a giant glowing ring of magical plasma or fire that encircles it, and a bunch of fancy polished gold all over it. Even for somebody who doesn't work with this sort of technology at all, Gastone, you know quality when you see it. And when you take a look at this ship, you can tell it's beat up, it's been through some adventures, but recent years have been good. And even though it's got old bones, it's got a new coat of paint, it's got all sorts of upgrades, a lot of the equipment that's been installed, all hand hammered, right? No factory anything. All of it handcrafted. Even the magical arcane engineering that doesn't, quite follow the laws of physics and stuff. It looks expensive. It looks well made. The pilgrims, whoever they are doing well for themselves. And when Domnika steps aboard, Nizar bellows in his rich voice, "Captain on deck," and all of the space hands start getting to their posts, preparing not to raise sails, but to expand the fan-like wings on the side. Lonnie, the halfling, sits on a massive throne in the middle of this apparatus back here. She sits down, she puts her goggles on, she starts fuddling with a bunch of magical components. The captain is only too eager to give you a tour of the ship, bringing you from this one does have propulsion, mostly because they look cool, and it's actually turbo. They don't need them, but it's they can fire them up for a quick burst of speed. There is a lower deck. If you scroll down, you can see that there are individual quarters, cargo, a pool table in the back, like a lounge for everyone to hang out, and of course the captain and first mate's quarters in the back, which are not to be disturbed. Do any of you get seasick?
I don't know.
Has Asena ever been on a boat before?
She's probably been on a Zeppelin.
She's been to space.
I don't think she's been on a boat before.
All right. It kind of sways a little bit like a boat, except without the support of the ocean beneath it. So there's no forces pushing against it, but when it sways, it kind of goes a little bit more. Everybody mounts up. They all get to their posts. And unless you have any last words, anything else that you want to do before you leave the world of Perianth behind? Great.
John just takes it in.
Mm-hmm. They raise anchor. The anchor is magical, and whenever it's touching the branches of the ship down below, it allows the ship to float without having to be powered. As they raise anchor, you see Lonnie sit down on the chair. She focuses for a moment. You can see light emanating through her goggles. She leans back, jerks back in her chair suddenly, and the ship hums to life. A vibration passes through the deck. The ring of fire around it begins to pulse as it takes up its own gravity. And in defiance of everything, it starts to fly upwards, faster and faster. The canopy of leaves below you recedes further and further, and as you get higher and higher up into the air, you start to pass through the clouds themselves. Gastone, you're a man of science. Around this point, you should be running out of oxygen on this open deck. But within the fiery ring, air seems to be stabilized. Pressure, gravity, all those things are maintained. It probably takes you a couple of hours to get, well, maybe not a couple of hours, but at least like 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours to escape Perianth's atmosphere. As you rise higher and higher, it becomes more difficult to see through the fog, the mists that cover the planet, but you can see that the vast majority of it is in fact forest. And instead of having huge oceans, it's just got lakes and water all over the place, saturating it. It's probably like 50% water, but even the land masses are heavily lots and lots of rainfall, so that it's almost entirely forest around the whole planet. And finally you rise, you escape the atmosphere, you're standing looking out into the darkness of space with brilliant stars all around you, and the ship, moving ever faster even though you can't feel that momentum anymore, is approaching an object that looms floating just on the horizon in orbit around the forest world of Perianth. Boignus Kimsabin walks up to Gastone, almost elbows him and says, "Ah, there's my beauty. You see this? This is why Boignus Kimsabin is a very, very rich man."
Yeah, this is certainly astonishing.
Wait till you see the rest of it. Under normal circumstances, the trip to Ashen would take weeks. We're several worlds away, you see. We'd have to pass by Quellia and Verdura. All the way to the Ashen is the innermost world, and we're the 4th planet. The distances involved are, if you'll forgive the term, astronomical.
I knew you were going to say that.
Shut up, John. Let me have my moment. The ship approaches an enormous structure that is, and these scale, this is not to scale. It is as beautifully made as anything else that the elves have produced. But whereas most of what they've built is from living wood, this seems to have stone, metal, wood, all interwoven in this enormous lattice. It's clearly got like 2 large rails along the side and a bunch of living material on the inside. It's a deep trench floating along the way. Look, I'm not saying it's a mass relay, but it looks a hell of a lot like a mass relay. If that'll get you on the same page. This is the Ether Relay. You can thank John for helping me come up with the name. I don't know where he got that from. The ship flies towards the thing, and again, it's huge. It dwarfs this vessel, which is like 100 feet or longer. Slides in along it, and then you wait. You wait for 6 hours as the Ether Relay orbits the planet, and you orbit with it, waiting for the proper alignment to make the jump. During that time, Zomkug, the half-orc, challenges Asena to an arm wrestling contest.
Point of order, I also want to pass out gifts at some point.
What did you bring for everybody?
So once they get onto the ship and before this really intense arm wrestling match begins, John, taking out from his Mary Poppins briefcase, one by one, he approaches the named members of the Pilgrim's Progress, the friends that he made along his journeys previously, to Waith, not realizing that he was even going to be alive nor present here. He takes out a bandolier of pouches.
Mm.
It's basically just a bunch of pouches on a belt. And he passes it over to him. I'm glad you're still alive.
Of course, with love. Did you write these down anywhere, Matt? Can you send these to me afterwards? Great, yeah,
certainly.
Go through them now, but just I need a list for my notes afterwards.
He takes out he has this just big sack. He just takes out a big sack of, well, he drops it at 10 Kobold's feet and it just clunks, and you can see that the bag slowly, not slowly, pretty immediately disperses a bit as it's just filled with like a collection of mechanical parts from Lacunas and Northport that he had just been kind of collecting. It could be junk. It could be something useful to you. I'm not really sure, but I thought you'd like it.
He immediately starts piecing through it.
To Molly, he opens up. He has like a little glasses container, and he opens it up, and inside there is a pair of goggles.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing incredibly exciting about these, but I thought you'd like them.
Is this for Lonnie, the Spelljammer?
Molly.
Okay, got it.
It's just waterproof goggles. So like it's just like if he got it from Lacunas, if you were to just go underwater, it's almost just like they're like metallic or plastic, just swimming goggles.
Nice. Swimming goggles.
Yeah. They're apparently useful for a depth of 100 meters. I have ever tested it. I don't know if that actually works that way, but I know that when you're out there making maps and exploring, who knows where you can find yourself. They might be useful. To Zomkug, he takes out a box and hands the box to Zomkug.
He eyes
Go
you
ahead,
over.
open it.
He opens the box.
You can't open the box. Figure it out. Apparently, the guy I got it from on Perianth said that there was a mystery prize inside, and it's a puzzle box. He'd kind of have to solve it.
All right.
But I know that Zomkub likes to spend kind of time by himself. He'll just be off fiddling with things, so it should keep him occupied for at least some time, this adventure or more.
All right, take a brief break from gift giving.
Yeah.
Asena, as John is passing out these gifts, Zomkug settles in at the table across from you. He's not flexing, he's not doing anything like fancy in your face. He's just big and very calm. How is Asena presenting herself? This is the pre-fight phase. We'll do this, we'll pass out remaining gifts, we'll handle bets, and we'll do the contest. He's not showing off, he's not flexing, he's just sort of sitting there, clearing the space for your arm wrestling contest. What's Asena doing?
Asena also doesn't really show off in any way. She's just going to sit down. But anything that's on the table, he's clearing the table, she'll probably just knock it off the table.
All right. He doesn't let you get a rise out of him, but you're just like being a cat and annoying him and just like knocking things off. You get a chuckle out of Domnika and Nizar. They like that. They think that's funny. What else does John have for the crew?
He approaches Boguk and just kind of leans in, puts an arm around him, and takes out a little vial and hands it to him. This is going to be for later. Boguk, this is beard oil. This is not a jeer or a jest. This is a promise. I don't know when. I don't know how. But I'm alive, and I have access to this location again. I'm going to get your people free again. And you're going to get to use this oil someday soon. I promise you.
Boguk takes that very seriously and pockets it, or stuffs it away in his kilt, essentially. It has pockets.
It's good to see you again.
He's very, very happy to see you and very somber about receiving that gift.
Talani, John takes out from his bag a very well-made scarf from Northport that he had picked up and just kind of tosses it to her.
Immediately up.
I know that when we left that island on Quelia, you didn't find that one scarf that had meant so much to you in your youth, and I thought this might be a nice replacement.
Aw, she super appreciates it.
And finally to Domnika, John just takes out a really nice bottle of elven wine that he just picked up in the marketplace this morning. I figured, we could share a drink later. You might want to re-up your stocks.
She's like, oh, this is the good stuff. Yes. Yes. Nizar looks around and he gives you the side eye. He's like, what?
John actually walks up to him and just kind of gives him a little clap on the chest. Honestly, Nizar, I didn't think you were going to be here. I didn't collect anything for you, but here's a gift basket. And John takes out a fruit basket and a cheese basket that he hands into him. And this is for you and the rest of the crew. So, enjoy. And as he's passing them off to him, he kind of leans in. Nice job. And he backs away to go watch the arm wrestling.
Were you a lesser man, John Carmichael, I would kill you for this insult. But this cheese is good. And then he gives you a wink.
Well, considering the company you keep, I know you're not a lesser man, Nazar.
All right, he starts digging in, passing out food as everyone's watching. You can tell this crew is shrewd. They're eyeing up the interactions between the two of you, trying to see where they should put their money. Place yourselves on the map based on who you are betting on, please. If you're betting on Zomkug, put yourself up here. If you're betting on Asena, put yourself down here. Ben is not betting.
Why?
He is merely observing.
He's really out of it, huh?
Where is Boignus? Boignus is going down south. Okay.
Yeah, Boignus isn't betting on. He's just watching to see where Carmichael puts his money, and then he's like.
John looks between the two of them, and then takes out 100 gold and just drops the pouch right next to Asena's forearm. I'm sorry, Zomkug.
Damn. Zomkug doesn't say that. He just shrugs. But the rest, you can hear the rest of the pilgrims. Oh. All right.
Prove me wrong, buddy. I know you can do it.
Domnika will see your 100. But how
about
about the rest of us keep it simple? 5, maybe 10? What do we think? 5s or 10s?
10s?
10s. So it is. Everyone wagers. So on this side, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 150 gold. Waith has no earthly belongings and cannot bet. He bets like a rat that he caught on the ship the other day. He puts that in the pile and everyone just lets him.
Wait, I'm sorry. The Pilgrim's Progress has been the most prosperous it's been in years, and he's been on their crew, and he doesn't have anything.
Look, no, we try to pay him. All right.
Okay.
He doesn't understand that gold is valuable.
I get that. Okay, understandable. Have a nice day.
You know, the other ones that we met, they all right, never mind. So we have 150 on the pot over here, and then 140 in the pot over here. So the Ben does not find this discrepancy pleasing. And so to balance things, he shall bet on Asena.
Yes.
150 either way. Best 2 out of 3.
Glorious.
Round 1, fight.
Asena.
Yes.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Before we start, I want to whisper to Zomkug.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're putting on this show, right? How much of the money do we get?
I'm gonna make Domnika buy me drinks if she wins.
You mean if you win?
I always get a cut.
Well,
Doesn't
if
matter.
I win, I'll buy you a drink too.
Deal. Vice versa.
That way we don't come out of this empty-handed.
It's fine if they screw you over as long as they still pay you. All right. A friendly side arrangement has been made. Roll an opposed athletics check. You have been given inspiration by chat should you choose to spend it. For your imaginary victory over Ralzipu.
And mate, while this is happening, John's going to cast a localized spell, kind of just darkening the area around the two of them. Some clouds gather over their heads, and it starts crackling with lightning.
All right. Ominous.
Yeah.
I'll spend an inspiration.
All right. Roll this with advantage.
And this is
Athletics.
Athletics skill check.
Mm-hmm. With advantage. Dirty 20. I got inspiration for getting punched into next week. I'm spending it. Round 1.
Zomkug.
His side of the room cheers. They clap each other. They boo, hiss, and taunt. Not Asena, but everyone on the other side of the room who bet on Asena.
Yeah.
Nothing but respect for the champion, but if you're a sucker who loses your money... Round
She's
2.
pulling back for a more dramatic victory. You've seen this kind of stuff before.
Round 2. Fight.
I have a lot of inspiration.
You do have a lot of inspiration. Would you like to use it?
Yeah, I'm using it again.
Okay, go for it.
For honor. Oh my gosh.
A 19 total versus a 25
Damn it.
total.
That almost hit a 7 too.
Zomkug takes the deal. Everyone on their side of the table. None of them would moon you. None of these people would moon you.
Moon you.
Yeah. Oh, they're practically space. They're one step above space pirates. The only reason they're not space pirates is they're space privateers because they work for King Indogalad. But yeah, they're more than happy to take your money because they just won 2 out of 3.
John's mage hand puts his hand over the money he put down and looks at Domnika. I've been gone for over a year. She's just shy. Double or nothing. Come on. I have another 100 gold that says Asena can take Zomkug once she gets acclimated to the Sea of Stars.
Ooh, the whole room looking at her. And what's funny is the one person who would be like, no, take the money and run, is the person arm wrestling right now. Is that just you or is that the rest of them too?
That's what John said. He'd double his money. He's not
Okay.
roping the rest in if they don't want to.
Yeah, because Charlie immediately, like, even though he's still, oh my God, I'm on a flying boat in space right now, he's also like, I'm not paying any more money. It's not even my money and I'm not paying more money.
Yeah, I'm actually the opposite because it's not my money. Sure.
All right. The pot is now 250 on both sides. Double or nothing.
Oh my god.
The bracket reset.
John sends Asena a message. Come on, Asena. I know you can do this.
All right.
Arm wrestled before.
You have inspiration again, Asena, for the
Nice.
double or nothing.
Okay.
Go for it. Oh, a 15.
This is not good.
21. Round 1. Zomkug. You can see Domnika over on that side is acting like she's forgotten how to count. She's just like doing air math at John.
Round 2. Fight.
Let's see it. You're out of inspiration now. Oh, nope. You just got more from chat. A dirty 22 versus 10. Bam, you get one.
Finally.
It's heads up.
Been rolling 20s this whole time.
All right, last round. And you know what I have? Inspiration for the pockets.
What?
Yep. Jack gave me inspiration for Boguk's kilt having pockets.
Well, I'm gonna spend another inspiration.
All right, this is coming off your character sheet because you're out of this batch
It
of
is,
chat.
yeah.
All right. Let's see what you got.
I believe.
Shit.
Ooh.
Awful. That's so
terrible.
bad. Oh, just
Wait. Asena, don't you have? Oh, wait. I don't think you have it. Never
Doesn't
mind.
that work the same as it like an inspiration?
No,
I-
I'm pretty sure it doesn't look like you reroll.
Hey, check your character sheet. Do you have a? Oh gosh, what is it called?
adaptive.
A deduction die. I don't think she does she?
I have a luck die.
Oh, you have a luck die. Okay.
Yeah.
You could spend a luck die if you really want to. You would have it exactly. It would give you a 50% chance of tying. On
You
a
don't have to do it.
Tying?
yeah,
you don't
because
have
if you roll an 11, no, you wouldn't have a 50% chance. You would have a 50% chance of not losing. Because either you would tie or you'd roll an 11 and tie, roll higher than an 11 and win, roll a 10 or lower and lose. So if you spend that luck die, you go from definitely losing to maybe losing.
Maybe losing.
Okay, roll just one, not advantage, a flat athletics check.
I don't know if I should do this.
I think you should do
This is
this.
just a stupid arm wrestling match.
You don't have to do this.
Okay, fine, I'll do it.
There it is.
Let's go.
Flat, normal.
Flat, normal athletics check. Thud. The pilgrims cheer, they clap for you. Zomkug mouths 2 drinks.
Oh, okay. This was kind of worth it then.
And your side of the table is out 250 gold collectively.
Which I'm pretty sure the only one here who had gold other than me was Boydus and Hara. The rest was all coming from me anyway.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
John, you're out, what, like
230.
230? Okay.
Yeah.
As I
John
get up from the
pays up.
table,
Mhm.
I am like playfully.
Mhm.
I'm gonna wink at Domnika. Make it look like maybe something fishy happened.
Roll a deception check, please.
My deception's not very good.
Wow.
You get up. She gives you the side eye, but she's smiling at you. It's all in good fun. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, no, you definitely threw for that. Yeah, wink.
Yep.
All right. With that, the orbital alignment of the spheres comes into play. All is as it should be. The ship, the ring of fire surrounding the Pilgrim's Progress turns a hot blue as they raise a second set of fan-like wings. This one made out of a gossamer, thin, translucent, almost glowing green cloth to catch the ethereal winds. Behind you, a great surge of energy builds up, something you can't feel in your body, but you can almost feel this rumbling in your soul, this incredible pressure as a wave of ethereal force builds and builds. It's been rising over the time that you've been waiting to orbit. And at last, when the planets are in perfect alignment, the relay fires. The ethereal plane is disrupted by a massive explosion. An explosion that passes through your bodies harmlessly, unseen, out of phase with reality. But that unseen rush of force and pressure catches the diaphanous wings of your ship. It catches the blue circle of fire surrounding you. And at that exact moment, Lonnie Laysimple, sitting on the spelljamming helm, focuses all of her arcane energy. You accelerate faster and faster and faster until space and time have barely any meaning as you jump to Plaid, accelerating with incredible speed away from Periomp. It vanishes almost instantly, passing behind you as you're hurtled across the solar system, past the shadow of the spider moon and the other worlds, well on your way to the desert planet of Ashen, which is where we will end tonight's adventure. Thank you everybody for joining us. Had lots and lots of fun. I will also say we had an act of God. So as your ship flies past the spider moon, an unseen fleet of spider-shaped porcelain vessels rises from its shadow, following you under the lead of a mysterious new military commander who is arisen from tonight's events. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and we will see you next time.